I am back once again, this time going over Lunar in the Master tier of RSC. We're going to start with Shark Attack, Shaner Banner, Kill Shot, ISO Solo, and Bluish. I think Shaner Banner is okay. I think Kill Shot is good, or Master. I've not heard great things about ISO Solo, and I haven't heard anything about Bluish. I'm going to start things off by giving him a C+. If Killshot and Shaner can perform, I think this team can do well. But this conference is very, very weak in comparison to Solar. Up next are the Shadows. I think this team is going to be a competitor to take the Lunar Conference. I think Buckle did a great job in drafting Infinite, signing Infinite and Thermal. I think Dom is a good third, and Jace Bill is definitely a sleeper in the tier. I'm going to give them a B+. Next up is 50/50 Pizzeria. This is definitely going to be one of the lower teams in Lunar. I don't really see a leader in this team. I think all these players are very inconsistent. I don't think they can perform well. They're going to be given a C-. Next up is the Elements. I don't like this team at all. I think Lower Iron School is way too high for Zamar. I don't like Pamsler, and I don't like Memlo. I'm going to give this team a D+. Another bottom of the barrel team in terms of Master as a whole. And these rankings are based off Master as a whole, not just the conference. Next up is Sovereign. I think this team is definitely the team to beat in Lunar. I think Reek, Fam, Moosey, and Cart are one of the strongest lineups in Master. As long as everyone is on. I think Cart is great as a third. And with Reek and Moosey kind of taking the role as the offensive players on the field, I think this team can be very good. They're going to be given an A-. And I think Alo is a great fourth. Next up is Abyss. I don't know much about G.I. Joey B, but I don't think Peach and Wall and Rock Socks, I don't think any of them are good enough to serve a 2 or a 3 role. This team is also going to be given a D+. I don't expect them to compete. Next up is 8-Bit Brigade. I didn't like them cutting Cream. I left him with Matutu, Rex, Murloc, and E=MC Hammer. Lunar is such a weird conference this season because there's so many teams that I don't think would do well. I'm also going to give them a D+. I just can't see them competing in Master this season. Next up is Milky Way. I thought the draft went okay, but then they cut the 2 players that I thought were their 2 top players. So for that, I'm going to give them a C-, just because I think Unix is very good, very undervalued. I think if Blob learns 3's rotations, he can be very good, and Stematics is a very good third. Can they compete against some of the better Lunar teams? I don't think so, but I think they can be middle of the pack, maybe fight for a playoff spot. Next up is Serpents. I think this was one of the worst drafts so far this season. Sprig self-promoting to Master I don't like. Taking Sobes at number, I think it was 7 overall, was terrible. I don't think Nit Ritter is that good. Neoblast is kind of left on his own here. This team is going to be given a D. Next up is Polar Vortex, who I think are also big contenders for the Lunar Conference. I think Cam and Cream and Foam are all very fast, very mechanical players. It's just their defense that I think scares me. I'm going to give them a B+. Next up is Electric Mayhem. I like Unexpected and Picasso, and I think Vanilla Rain can be good. And Perino is the fourth. I'm going to give this team a B-. I think they're going to be a playoff team in Lunar this season. But in terms of, like I've said before, competing against these top Lunar teams, I can't see them compete. Next up is Bear Den. This team surprised a lot of people by going far in playoffs this last season. It's not going to happen again this season, despite how weak Lunar is. I don't see a star in this team at all. I thought they would go into the draft and try and grab a star, but they do not. I'm going to give them a C-. Next up is Planet of the Apes, who I also think are one of the top runners for Lunar. Bringing back Derp and Stumpy were great. I think Ash is a serviceable third. I'm also going to give this team a B+. And lastly is the Comic Crusaders. I think this team's going to be the worst team in Master. I don't see a leader, I don't see a star. I don't see anyone that, if I was a GM, I would consider drafting. This team will just not compete. It is a team that you can go into each match day and say, we at least need a 3-1 or a 4-0 off of this team. They are going to be the first F that I give out. Sorry, Bob. That does it for Master as a tier, and I completed Premier as a tier. I do not believe I will do Elite. What I will do instead are weekly updates for both Premier and Master, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching.